Ocean Energy Management has ordered Revolution Wind in New London to halt all offshore activities. The project is already 80% complete and had installed 45 of 65 planned wind turbines. The company says it's complying with the order and working to ensure worker and environmental safety. The company is now exploring legal and regulatory options to resume work. It's aiming to be complete by late 2026. Revolution Wind is set to power more than 350,000 homes in Rhode Island and Connecticut. The reason for the stop work order has not been disclosed at this time. But tonight, Senator Richard Blumenthal is reacting and saying, in part, as Connecticut families' electric bills skyrocket, the Trump administration is canceling critical clean energy projects that would lower utility bills and have created good-paying union jobs for our state's workforce. Revolution Wind's project was already well underway and employed hundreds of skilled tradesmen and women. This is a major setback for a critical project in Connecticut, and I will fight it. Now, of course, for this and any other breaking news stories, make sure you have our free Fox 61 News app. You can always scan the QR code on your screen to download it. And new tonight, a major ruling on Connecticut's assault weapon ban. The federal appeals court has upheld the law originally passed after the Sandy Hook tragedy nearly 13 years ago. The court ban says that this does not violate the Second Amendment. The Second Circuit Court ruled that gun rights groups failed to prove semi-automatic handguns aren't enough for self-defense. Judges emphasized the state's right to regulate particularly dangerous weapons in the name of public safety. Gun advocates blasted the decision and accused the court of ignoring Supreme Court precedent. But Attorney General William Tong says he'll keep fighting to keep what he calls weapons of war off Connecticut streets. This case could eventually land before the U.S. Supreme Court. And developing tonight, Danbury police are investigating a shooting that happened just before 6:30 Friday evening. Police say it happened on Lake Avenue. Officers arrived to find a man with a gunshot wound to the neck and provided first aid until EMS crews took him to the hospital. At this time, his condition is unknown, and police quickly identified a suspect after a short pursuit. The suspect's car crashed into a cruiser on I-84 near the New York line, and he was taken into custody, and a gun was also recovered. One officer suffered minor injuries, and the investigation is ongoing. And new tonight, the city of Torrington is suing major insulin manufacturers and pharmacy benefit managers, and they're accusing them of price gouging on life-saving diabetes medications. The lawsuit targets Eli Lilly, Novo Nordisk, Sanofi, and PBM giants like CVS, Caremark, and Express Scripts, and alleges them using a deceptive scheme that drove insulin prices from $20 to as much as $700 per vial, despite production costs as low as $2. Torrington argues the inflated costs have strained the city's budget and hurt its ability to provide its services. CVS denies the wrongdoings, and other companies have not yet responded at this time. A Connecticut man is facing murder charges after a deadly shooting in Vermont. Police say 30-year-old Demetrius Drew of New Haven shot and killed a man and injured a woman inside Hartford, Vermont home early Thursday morning. Now, the victim, who was identified as 65-year-old David LaBrecu, died at the scene. Drew was charged with first-degree murder and attempted second-degree murder. Two other people from New Hampshire were also arrested. And it was a beautiful evening for day one of the Plainville Fire Company's Hot Air Balloon Festival. The annual summer event attracts thousands of people, and this year's festival honors the legacy of the late Plainville firefighter Ray Moreau. Fox 61's Valerie Moravi has the story.
The 38th annual festival began with a hot air balloon glow and community spirit. But this year, there was a deeper meaning to it as crews with the Plainville Fire Company honored one of their own who was deeply involved in the preparation of this festival, the late firefighter, Ray Moreau. Thousands made their way to Norton Park in Plainville Friday night for the anticipated Balloon Festival.
But we've been coming, she was in my belly, like everything.
Kirsty Lopatowski says coming to the Balloon Festival with her daughter is a family tradition.
We come almost every year. So we came that last year when she was almost 2, and now she's going to be 3, and she loves all of the balloons and seeing them all light up.
Friends and family members had a lot of exciting things to look forward to at the Plainville Fire Company Hot Air Balloon Festival, including live music, food, entertainment, and crafters. A 2-day event began with a balloon glow and fireworks, a spectacular event full of energy and preparation. Adam Siegel is the co-chair of the Balloon Festival Committee. He says the most special part will take place Saturday morning with a tribute to fallen firefighter Ray Moreau, who was a huge part in making this balloon festival possible.
He was always here lending a hand, helping set up, helping tear down, handling the money, handling the food tent, all the things that you would expect from someone. Was really a great guy. I mean, everything we do is hard without him.
Siegel says Moreau's spirit will be present all throughout the tribute.
All I can't let out too much, but I can say is be here for 6 a.m. And you'll see something pretty spectacular. And then also we have a banner for Scoops for Troop, who's doing a fundraiser for Ray.
In addition to the Balloon Festival raffle, a fundraiser will take place August 26 in support of the memory of the late firefighter. Now the balloons will hit the sky on Saturday as early as 6 a.m. In Plainville, Valerie Moravi, Fox 61.
A North Haven man is facing serious charges after police say he engaged in a sexually explicit conversation with a child online. 25-year-old Christian Senberg was arrested on Friday following an investigation that began with a tip from Virginia authorities. Police say he used social media to target a juvenile. Senberg is charged with risk of injury to a minor and enticing a minor. North Haven police urge parents to stay vigilant about their children's online activity. And a 15-year-old is in custody tonight after they were accused of targeting women at gas stations in North Haven and stealing their purses. Police say the teen and an accomplice pulled up in a stolen car, opened car doors while victims were seated, and then snatched their bags. All this happened in 2024, and investigators say forensic evidence and digital records helped link the teen to similar purse snatchings in Glastonbury. And alert tonight out of Stratford. The town is warning people about harmful blue-green algae blooms in Brewster and Longbrook ponds. Signs are being posted advising people and pets to avoid contact with the water at this time. It could cause skin irritation, headaches, and more serious health issues if it is ingested. Swimming is also banned, and the fountain in Brewster Pond has been shut off to limit the spread. And right now, applications are open for the Connecticut Department of Agriculture for the 2026 CT Grown for CT Kids grant, with nearly $1 million in funding to support farm-to-school programs. All new this year, eligibility now includes colleges and universities, and stricter spending guidelines aim to ensure responsible use of funds. Micro grants are capped at $5,000 and full grants at $50,000. Applications are due in September and October, and for more details, you can head on over to our website, fox61.com, and click the featured links. And school is just around the corner, and local teachers say they need more support. At an event in Hartford Friday morning, teachers, advocates, and lawmakers came together to promote a bill called the RAISE Act. It would provide teachers with new tax credits worth at least $1,000 and up to $15,000 for some educators. It would also expand deductions for classroom supplies as well.
They're struggling to put food on their own household tables. And if they are also expected to buy school supplies out of that household budget, their families are going to be the ones who suffer. That is wrong. We need to make it right. That's the reason the RAISE Act is so important now.
The RAISE Act was introduced by Connecticut Congresswoman Jahana Hayes in February, but it still needs to pass the House. A big fight is brewing over who controls Connecticut's largest water company. Attorney General William Tong said Friday that state regulators should reject a plan that would create a new nonprofit water authority to take over Aquarion. He says it could result in families paying more for service. And Aquarion says that's just simply not true. Aquarion, which is currently owned by Eversource, serves more than 700,000 people in 62 communities. Under the proposed plan, the water company would shift into a nonprofit model run by a local board outside the direct authority of PURA. In a statement, Tong said this transaction is a costly loser for Connecticut families who simply cannot afford higher water bills right now. This is an end run around PURA to double bills, and it should be rejected, end quote. Meanwhile, Aquarion and Eversource pushed back in a statement this afternoon. Part of it reads, despite false claims, water rates will not double as a result of Eversource's sale of Aquarion, end quote. The proposal is under review by the Public Utilities Regulatory Authority. And Governor Ned Lamont has ordered all U.S. and state flags in Connecticut to be lowered to half-staff today in honor of Steve Kazinski. Kazinski was a state worker with the Department of Developmental Services. He died last week after being injured on the job at the Southbury Training School. The flag lowering coincides with his funeral service in Ansonia. Lamont claimed it a tragic loss and praised Kazinski's dedication to public service. And later on today, protesters will gather at New Haven Green for a topless rights rally. It's all to advocate for explicit legal protections allowing women to go topless in public just like men. Organizers say current laws are unclear, risking arrest under disorderly conduct despite no specific bans. The event is part of a wider national Go Topless Day campaign that pushes for gender equality and changing social norms around the female body. And developing tonight, at least 5 people died after a tour bus carrying roughly 50 passengers crashed in upstate New York this afternoon. It happened along Interstate 90 east of Buffalo as the bus was headed back to New York City from Niagara Falls. Police say the bus lost control for unknown reasons, crashed into a ditch, and then rolled over. Several people were trapped and others were ejected. A spokesperson for one hospital said they have received more than a dozen patients and several people had to be transported by helicopter.